Hello everybody, it's Kara from Wild Book Garden, and today I'm here to do the tag about tags. I was not tagged in this one, but I thought I had to do it so I could talk about my tag philosophy, if you will. Especially as I am somebody who is, I guess, very defensive of tags' place on BookTube, even though it's one of the trendy videos to, I don't know if I want to say hate on, but like, it's often dismissed as very basic BookTube content, so I had to share my opinions. And this tag was created originally by Roz at Scally Dandling About the Books, and I was not tagged by anyone, but I saw this most recently on Kazan from Always Doing's channel, so I will link both of them down below. And yeah, really excited to get into this. So, question number 1, tag firsts. Did you do the BookTube newbie tag? If not, what was your first tag? And do you choose to watch newbie tags? I did do the BookTube newbie tag. I think I also did the like new to BookTube tag, or like there was like another version that had different questions but was similarly kind of an introductory tag video. But I think my actual first tag I did, I think it was the like ice cream book tag, which was created by Kristen at Super Space Chick, who is now Merrily Kristen. So yes, I did do it, but I think my first tag was the ice cream book tag. And do you choose to watch newbie tags? And I do sometimes, not as often as I should and as often as other people do. I do like regularly end up finding new booktubers, but usually that's through like other kinds of tags or like wrap-ups. Like I really like watching wrap-ups to get kind of a feeling for people's reading tastes. So like I generally tend to find booktubers through things other than the newbie tag. Number 2, tag emotions. What feelings do tags provoke in you? Tag joy and delight, tag boredom and resentment, tag guilt or anxiety, even tag envy. And I really like tags. I enjoy watching them and doing them, and if you guys haven't watched my tag videos before, I really try to structure them as recommendations videos. So like when you watch a tag that I do, I want you to actually get a feeling for not only why I chose a book for a particular question, but like things I like about the book, or if it's a negative question, things I don't like about the book. And like I really want it to function again as like recommendations videos, so you can actually feel like you got some good information about a book, rather than me just picking it for a question. And I also want to say, like, I subscribe to people who do like a wide range of things with their tags, so I'm not saying my way is the best way to do it or anything. I'm just saying that's how I approach them. So yeah, like I don't feel bored or resentful with tags, and I think like this is what kind of frustrates me about like people saying that tags are boring content or basic content, is it depends on the tag and it depends on how you do them, and also it depends on what you're looking for. Like, I know a lot of people who do tags that are very creative, who create them with really creative and engaging questions, or I know people who answer tag questions in a way that is very interesting and very original, or that talk about underhyped books, for example. Like, one thing I also like to do with my tags is I really make an effort to talk about a variety of books. So not that I'll never repeat a book, but I really make an effort to highlight not the same books every time. And sometimes that means interpreting a question a little bit differently. Like if a tag question says, what is the best fantasy book you've ever read? Obviously, if you have one book that you think is the best, you're going to end up picking that book every time a question like that comes up. So a lot of times what I'll do is instead I'll pick one of my favorite fantasy books or whatever the question was, which is also great because if you have a hard time picking favorites like I do, it means you get to talk about a lot of different books and that you don't have to like choose one as like the best and then ignore the others. I feel like I got away from this question a little bit, but yes, tags do not bore me. I will say I sometimes feel a tiny bit of tag guilt just because I get very behind on them and I really like doing them, and like I am making an effort to get back on track with some of the many tags I have been tagged in that I'm excited to do. I think most of my like frustration or resentment is not about tags, it's about people who like dismiss them completely. And the thing too is like, even if you're watching like the same tag from different people, you're gonna get different answers. Like yes, if there's a tag that you specifically don't like you find the questions boring, then obviously, yeah, you're probably not gonna wanna watch that one. But I don't feel like, I mean, the book community loves doing the mid-year book freakout tag, for example, which was created by Chami and Ellie at Earl Grey Books. And that's another thing, is a lot of times people don't credit the original creators of a tag or of a video idea, and that really just, I hate that. That drives me up the wall. But back to my original point, like that's a tag that is, like we've been doing that one for years and people are not bored of it. So like it's just, it comes down to like, yes, some of it is about how creative the questions are, but it's also about how you as the creator are interpreting them. Like if you don't, obviously people can make what content they want. I'm not saying everybody has to make tags or watch tags, but if your reasons for not watching or not doing tags, or for saying that like tags are like the worst booktube content or whatever, if your reasons are things that are not actually like true, that are not actually accurate reasons, that's kind of frustrating. Like there are some very creative tag themes and you have to find those then. Or there are some creators who do tags in different ways, so you have to find those then. Like if you're always answering with the same books, you can do something about that. Or if you're not like interested in like the tag questions for a particular tag, you can do something about that. You can create a tag, or you can find like a different tag you want to do, or you can like choose a tag and say, all right, all of my answers are going to be from this kind of book, to kind of mix it up. Like just, there's a lot of ways to make it creative, and I wish people acknowledge that. And I've gotten way off topic, I'm so sorry. Number 3 is tag favorites. What kind of tags do you like most and least to do and to watch? And this is, I think, like an unpopular opinion based on what I've seen people say about tags before. I actually am not a big fan of the ones that are like get to know me necessarily. It's not like I don't care when people like share other info about their interests or their lives or anything that they want to talk about on their booktube channel, like that's about their personality or their life more broadly, outside of just books. It's not that I don't care about that, it's just that I really feel like I get to know people best through bookish questions. So like I tend to really like those. I also like tags that have like a really fun and interesting theme. Like there's one, let me look up who created it. So one I heard about just recently is the Accomplished Woman, or an Accomplished Woman book tag. And that was created by Coiny Reads. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. And that one is about like that line in Pride and Prejudice about like what an accomplished woman is. And so it asks you like different things like modern languages, favorite translated fiction, music, favorite literary musician, singing, give a poetry recommendation, drawing, a beautiful cover. Like I love that. That's so creative. That's so fun. So yeah, I really like tags that have like an interesting theme like that, but I also love answering, you know, like I also enjoy the mid-year book freakout tag. I also like to, when it comes to watching and doing, I also really like tags that combine some positive and some negative questions. I just find that like more interesting to watch. I like getting like a real feel for like the breadth of somebody's reading opinions. And then of course I also will enjoy a good negative tag video, like the unpopular opinions book tag or something. So yeah, I have like a pretty wide range of like tag tastes, I guess. And also when I like a certain kind of tag, I tend to like watching it and doing it. Number 4, tag style. How do you tag? Do you have a system for keeping track of when you are tagged or tags you plan to do? Do you prepare to do tags or just wing it? I kind of have a system for keeping track. I do like keep track of when I've been tagged in something, and I do work from that list, although obviously I will also do tags I wasn't tagged in. And then I definitely do prepare to do tags. And this brings me to another one of my the things that frustrate me about people looking down on tag content is I know for a lot of people that they can be kind of like, oh, I'll just whip out this content. Like I don't have something prepared, so I'll just do a tag and it's fine. Like it's kind of easy content, which is, I think that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that content does not have to be exhausting to do in order to be valuable. But also for me personally, and I know for some other people as well, tags are not easy content for me. I actually tend to do a lot of prep because again, I kind of make them like recommendations videos, and I'm also pretty intentional about the way I select books. You know, again, I want to talk about books that I don't talk about all the time necessarily. And I just like having like kind of a general plan. Like I don't like write a long page of notes or anything, but I do like sit down and like figure out, okay, which book do I want to talk about for each question? Like I plan like why I think it's a good answer for that question, and then when I'm actually filming, like I'll kind of fill in with other information that I remember and want to talk about with the book. So I don't do like an extensive like set of notes or anything, but there is quite a lot of prep for when I do tags. Now for this tag, because it's a shorter one and it's more about like talking through things, I did not actually, like I knew kind of what my answers would be, but I didn't like write down and plan them. Whereas with ones that require you talking about books, I will like actually write down the list of books that I'm going to talk about. Number 5, tag memories. Of the tags you have watched, done, or created, which have stuck in your memory? Are there any you would like to revisit or revive? And I have actually thought about revisiting some, maybe for like my next like booktube anniversary or like a subscriber milestone or something. I thought it might be fun to kind of revisit some of the ones I did at the very beginning of my channel. Like I know, I think the Unpopular Opinions book tag, I think I did that a long time ago, and that would be a fun one to do again. I also have created several original tags of my own. I have the 6 musical book tag, which I co-created with Hannah from Snow White Reader. I also did the Shakespeare book tag, which was a ton of fun to do. Yvette from Bookcave and I, when we did our Dragon Prince mini-thon that we hosted, we had kind of a mini tag, so that one was really fun. And most recently, I have my Lucy Worsley book tag, which is incredibly specific, but I had a blast doing it, and I have really enjoyed seeing people answer those questions. I will of course link all of these down below. I'll actually link the playlist of my original tags, and then also the playlist just of all the tags that I've done, like answered questions for, if you're interested in that. And that's for the other part of the question. There's so many wonderful creative tags, and also, like I've said, you don't have to have a really out there concept, like to have a tag worth doing, or like for your content to be like worth it as a tag. But I do want to say that if you really want to get tag questions that are like really interesting and specific and ones that you don't see a lot, you should really follow Literary Gladiators. Josh does their series of like original foodie book tags, and I always love answering those questions because again, they're so varied and so interesting, and they make me talk about aspects of books or my reading that other tags don't always. My friend Margaret from TheWordN3rd, she recently did a kind of like end of year TBR planning tag, which was so fun to watch, so I will link that as well. I really feel bad like even answering this question because there are so many like wonderful tags out there, but I tend to only have the ones in my mind that I did or watched most recently. It is no reflection on like the quality of the other tags that I don't remember them, but yeah, there's really wonderful tags out there. And number 6, of course, is to tag people. So I'm going to tag some content creators who I know tend to do some tags. I'm going to tag Yara from Array of Reading, Annalisa from Annalisa Ely, Vendi from Caught Between Pages, Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly, Hana from LinhHermione, Mary Margaret from MM's Musings, Olivia-Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, Alan from the Library of Alexandria, and Margaret from TheWordN3rd. So those are just a few of the people who I know do tags, and you might be interested in doing this, although if you don't want to, no pressure. As Kazan always says, the love is in the tag. And of course, if you would like to do this tag, then I tag you. Please do it and consider yourself tagged. So please comment down below and let me know your thoughts on any of these questions. Let me know if you also enjoy tags, even though like people kind of love to hate on them a little bit. And thank you, Roz, for creating such a wonderful tag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!